Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Mark Millett is the president, CEO, and co-founder of Steel Dynamics Incorporated. He's also the vice chairman of the Steel Manufacturers Association. He's a recipient of the 2014 Association for Iron and Steel Technology Steelmaker of the Year Award. Prior to the formation of Steel Dynamics, Mark worked for Nucor Corporation for 12 years and earned his bachelor's degree in metallurgy from the University of Surrey in England. And with that, Mr. Millett, you are recognized.
But I thank you for the opportunity to speak before you and for your support of the American steel industry and the industrial manufacturing base. I am President and CEO of Steel Dynamics, the fourth largest domestic steel producer in the United States, having an annual capacity of around 11 million tons. We operate state-of-the-art facilities in 9 states. We're the youngest of the largest steel producers. Along with 2 other entrepreneurs, founded Steel Dynamics in 1993, and we're now entering our 25th year. In that time, we have grown from a single steel mill in Butler, Indiana, with 275 employees, to 6 steel mills, 7 steel fabrication plants, and numerous other manufacturing facilities. We now employ over 7,700 employees. And I would like to address the 232. The SMA and SDI strongly support President Trump's action, which addresses the surge of steel imports that undermines the viability and the vitality of American steel producers, thereby threatening our national security. We're optimistic that the 232 remedy will provide a level playing field for U.S. producers by reducing imports to allow steel utilization rates to approach 85%, a level at which much of the industry should be able to earn its cost of capital and be healthy. We look forward to the measures going into effect for a period of sufficient duration for companies to reinvest in our domestic steel industry. As a whole, the U.S. steel industry continues to find ways to cut costs while being innovative, continuing to hire, train, and develop employees, and by delivering incredible value to the U.S. consumer. But our industry cannot succeed in the face of an ongoing onslaught of government-subsidized and dumped steel from foreign countries. The key problem is that China's state-sponsored growth in the steel sector has been unprecedented and detrimental not only to the U.S. steel industry, but to the global steel industry as a whole. In the early 2000s, China's steel capacity grew quickly to satisfy internal demand, but in 2006, China became a net exporter, continuing to grow capacity even as their steel demand peaked. They continued this negligent growth through the financial crisis aftermath, when most of the world's steel industry suffered severe production cuts due to the collapse in global steel demand. Between 2009 and 2015, China's capacity to make steel expanded a further 350 million tons. For perspective, that is the equivalent of 3.5 times current U.S. production capacity. While China remained the world's largest steel consumer, their production vastly outstripped domestic demand, and a flood of exports, as we all know, has saturated the global markets since 2014. U.S. steel producers responded with a series of successful anti-dumping and countervailing duty cases against steel imports from China and other countries, most recently in 2015 and 2016. But unfortunately, these cases resulted in only temporary relief. Imports of steel in 2017 increased 15% over 2016 levels, due largely to country and product shifting. Chinese government support for its industry led to a reckless expansion when Chinese and global demand simply did not warrant the investment. These policies are not market-driven practices that have led to a normal expansion of production to meet consumption. They are unfair practices that include distortive support state-owned enterprises. Such practices include artificially low-cost financing, equity infusions into poorly performing companies from state-owned banks, and preferential provision of raw materials. We're also concerned that other countries, including but not limited to South Korea, Vietnam, import vast quantities of dumped and subsidized steel from China to make further processed steel products that are then shipped to the United States. South Korea is now the top export destination of Chinese steel, has in turn become the largest exporter of steel pipe and tube to the United States. As I have noted, we have successfully brought AD and countervailing duty cases against unfair, injurious imports. However, these efforts have not stemmed the tide of relentless steel imports. That is why we support President Trump's 232 National Security Program on steel imports, and will work with him and his administration to make the program a success. I appreciate your attention. Thank you for your bipartisan leadership of the Steel Caucus in working with us to make this vital program successful. Thank you.